So which one would you call as the key skill or methodology that you built? Was that the highlight for you, or are there other things that you gained that change your perspective or change the way you're doing angel investing nowadays?
Yeah, I mean, I think the methodology, I think one of the most important ones, which the program teaches, is building your own investment thesis. Mm-hmm. I didn't have really a clue of what my investment thesis, was before this. It really was during the program that I started to think that I wanted to not just take a methodical approach to angel investing, but actually approach angel investing as a sort of semi-pro, still a side gig, but it's still something that I want to do at a professional level. And so building your investment thesis is very important, like knowing what you're looking for, what matters to you. And there's so many different, factors that you can consider along the way. So the things that I gravitated towards are things that I think are, somewhat future-proof. As many people say, it's all about the founder. It's all about the founding team. And certainly once you're actually meeting with startups and founders with the idea of putting your money into their business, you get a lot more tuned into that. It's all kind of like theoretical until you're doing it and you're ready to put skin in the game. But you focus on the founder that you think is going to really succeed, and so that's a key piece of the thesis as well. I also care about making an impact. So I mean, I'll be honest, there are some companies that are generating great revenue and they're in some sort of data brokerage or something like that, and it's okay, wonderful business. I have nothing against that, but it's not for me. I want to put my money into something that is going to make some difference. So found myself gravitating towards companies that are in agritech, that are in health tech, that are in med tech, things that I think are going to help the world and hopefully also have a bigger place in the future.
Were there any aha moments in the program or something exciting or completely unexpected that happened?
Yeah, actually, so one of the things that actually, I'll kind of rewind a little bit. As I was thinking about joining this program, there were a couple of concerns I had. One, I was worried that the quality of the startups wasn't going to be great. And I was thinking, well, if I'm committing here to put money into the winner of this competition, what if I don't believe in it, right? And so I was a little bit worried about that. And I was also worried that there was going to be a bit of groupthink. We are many of the people joining first-time angel investors, so we're still learning. And I thought, well, if people aren't experts at investing, maybe not even experts in technology or any related industries, what's going to be the sort of thought process of the group, right? But one of the things that was eye-opening is that actually so many people who were part of the group brought such great energy and knowledge and expertise. And so you're really able to leverage all this expertise in evaluating all of these different startups. And then even beyond the quality of the investing group, the quality of the startups really blew my mind. I was amazed at how good these startups were and how good the deal flow was that you brought. And so, that was great. But to now answer your question about what was the aha moment, we got down to 12 semifinalists in the program, and we had to vote from 12 down to 6. I had at the time 3 favorites, and actually kind of to my own surprise, all 3 of those favorite got voted out in the semifinal stage. I thought, oh my God. I mean, it just kind of shows the embarrassment of riches we had. We had all of these great companies to evaluate and choose from, but I was bummed that, my favorites got voted out. And so I sort of had decided that I was quite interested in these companies and I wanted to at least continue the conversation. I wanted to do more due diligence. So I reached out to each of those founders and I said, hey, I'm sorry that you got voted out, but I'm personally interested in continuing the conversation, and I do believe that other investors who are part of this program would also be interested. All 3 of them were very, very happy to continue the conversation, and so at that point I started to kind of work closely and do due diligence with at least 2 of those startups that I wanted to pursue. And that was really eye-opening for me because I got to get much more in-depth with the founder. I got to coordinate a smaller subset of the group of investors, and I really enjoyed that process. I found it very rewarding. I learned so much more about the founders, and so taking that not just active but extra active approach, I found great.
You took the lead investor role on those startups, which is highly recommended and also very much needed in the ecosystem. If you didn't step in and do the extra due diligence and bring those startups to the attention of all the other investors, they wouldn't get the extra tickets. And just by being active, you got 2 startups, an extra quite significant amount of investment going to them, right?
Yeah. We had, I think, ultimately 10 or 12 of the group of investors. So maybe a third of the group decided to invest in at least one of those two startups. So yeah, it was great, you know.
But how did you feel about the finalists? And because were you also happy with the startup that got chosen as the winner? And did you see that it made sense? And like, was it justified for you at the end, like that after the time passed?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm a big fan of the winner of the competition. So I mean, that winner was Calla Lilly, as many people know. You know, it's a med tech company, a drug delivery device, pivoted from a consumer product to, you know, drug delivery. And extremely promising. I mean, so they were also one of my favorites, and I'm very, very glad to be an investor in that company now. You know, one of the things that's amazing about also angel investing is that you can go in sort of areas where traditional VC is a little bit hesitant to go. And one of those areas is medtech. You know, because of the timeline of biotech and medtech getting regulatory approval and so on, they almost have to have like this magic window of being right at the right time and meeting right with the right type of investor that wants to specialize in that field right when that VC is like putting money in. Because otherwise the sort of like 5 years in, 5 years out VC model, the timing just doesn't work because they probably need to see returns within 5 years, and medtech very rarely has returns within 5 years. And so that's why some of these companies, even though they're incredibly promising, they're not going to traditional VC. They're going to angel investors. And so in a way, we have an opportunity to put money into companies that, you know, we're the only ones that get this opportunity. So that's great as well.
So is that now your focus? Is it what excites you moving forward into the ecosystem, or will you keep a broader mind and invest diversely into the ecosystem?
Yeah, I want to stay diverse. I mean, I think very much of myself as a generalist investor, so I don't want to specialize too much. And frankly, if I did specialize, I would have to go into like my own history of work, which is, you know, technology startups, specifically fintech more than anything else. And I do love fintech, but I don't want to only invest in fintech. I think also another interesting thing about being a generalist and being an angel investor is that as you build a portfolio of 10 or 20 companies, you know, it's a little bit it's a risk mitigation to not be too focused on one thing or another, right? Because everything's cyclical and sometimes certain industries go up, others go down. And if you have a generalist approach, you can kind of ride through those waves.
Absolutely. So building a broad portfolio and staying open to see what else is really coming out instead of being narrow-minded, that fits perfectly. So how are you engaging differently? If you are engaging differently in the ecosystem, are you investing with any of the alumni investors? Are you engaged in the network? How does that change your participation style or participation in general?
Yeah.